So here we are again at Maarten, and well, in the distance you can see some people cycling, and they are already getting a lot further with the houses, so we're going to take a look at that. But as you can see, they are like doing some groundworks here. They're like digging trenches and filling it with sand. This is of course going to be new roads and new streets. So they dug up the earth and then they filled this with, well, just regular sand. As you can see, it has been raining, so it is very muddy. So yeah, I will not attempt to go walking in there because it can actually be quicksand, which is well, kind of dangerous. But yeah, they're just well, kind of creating the basis for new streets here. But I do wonder when they are going to install any like services like the sewage and other mains. I don't see anything of that here. Maybe if you go a bit further we might see it. But well, I don't think they are actually that far already. It looks like they've just started the works here. So there is the big excavator doing the work. But yeah, this is just, well, regular yellow sand. Now with these houses, they are already a bit further now with the roofs. They are going to put the tiles on. And they've also started excavating another building pit, and this is a different builder. Those houses will of course be different, but yeah, they are putting on the roof tiles. And you can also see the exterior insulation being added to the interior walls before they're going to start bricklaying. And it looks like it is mineral wool, so it's like glass wool or rock wool. I think this is actually glass wool. And on this block they are starting with the exterior brick wall. So in the other houses already seem to have them. And these are the roof tiles. They are ceramic tiles by the looks of it. So here you can see the external masonry. Those are just well, ceramic bricks, very normal, along with the insulation. And it seems like the insulation has been covered with some sort of aluminum foil. But yeah, it looks like it is glass wool. So with that block, they have now reached a stage where they are building the attic walls. And you can see this wooden beam mounted on the floor. And that is well, going to be the beam that supports the roof. It is actually a sort of fold open prefab roof. And it is supported by that wooden beam, which is fixed with brackets to the floors. But well, yeah, you probably can't see much of it here actually from this angle. But yeah, that roof is prefabricated, and when they install it they can just fold it open like a book. So it is mostly supported on the floors. And since they are hollow core floors, there are also horizontal thrust forces coming from the roof, so that has to be accounted for. And they install metal tension strips on the floors to join them together, so that it can handle the horizontal thrust force from the roof. But it's something I can't really show you unless I make a drawing of it. Well, and over there they are also a bit further. That is a project with precast walls, so you might have a look at that as well. But yeah, those houses, well, they are just, well, started with the masonry on the outside. Well, and on this block you can see they have that precast wall just kind of loosely standing there. I wonder if they have ordered one too many or if it's going to be installed on the upper floor. So now we've come to a different area with houses that have pile foundations, and these have hollow core floors for the ground floor, and they are going to be built with precast elements, as you can see over there. But those will also get those prefabricated roofs. And you can see that here the perimeter of the hollow core floors is covered with insulation material. So here we have a precast wall on its trailer. And it's kind of difficult to reach here, but this is the trailer with a wall panel, and these are, well, special screw points for fixing things. So this is a demu anchor, and it is, well, a threaded thing with a rebar that kind of extends into the wall, and then they can bolt something to this, like anchors for the roof or hoisting eyes. See, the concrete is very nice and smooth. And there's also one of those fixing anchors, but that's for the temporary bracing. So on this block you can see that the cavity between the two floors has been covered with mineral wool. That is probably also done for, well, air tightness and probably also acoustic reasons. And there you can see the temporary braces already being laid there on the floor to temporarily secure the walls. But as you can see, the wall cavity between the floors is, well, about, well, I think 5 centimeters or so by the looks of it. And here everything is properly kind of sealed off with insulation material. So those are the precast panels. I can't exactly see yet which manufacturer they are from, but they even have that interesting precast lintel. And then those little panels over there, normally you would probably make those things out of masonry, because it's not very efficient to make such small panels. But everywhere you look you see these small threaded inserts for, well, fixing window frames and other stuff. And, well, the window frames are already pre-fixed to the walls, and then they can just fold open the brick ties and attach the insulation to it. And yeah, and the walls are, well, they are just connected with very simple, well, bolt anchors from the inside. And well, yeah, it's actually a very simple detail. I don't think I can find any like example of it here, or that I can easily show you. That is the manufacturer of the precast walls, Spaans and Bouwsystemen. And they also have like, well, a label here on it. And let's see, this panel is over 3,500 kilograms. So it's very heavy. And that is the, well, the other side of the panel, which is like the casting side. The other side is the mold side, which is smooth. The other side is a bit rough. And here we have some steel tubes. Well, that's what it appears, but it's actually just a metal strip with a box section welded on top of it. And I think that is going to be a really big lintel. And considering the length of it, it'll probably have to make a rather large span. And there's also a few holes drilled into it that are about 1.2 meters apart, which is the exact like width of the hollow core floors, so they can like thread some rebar through that and will grout it in the connections. Because if you look closely, those hollow core floors, they are 1.2 meters wide, and they have like these grooved profiles. So a rebar would kind of sit in here, and, well, where the other panel is, they would just, well, grout it up, and that's how they can anchor the floors to the lintel. It looks like I can't get through here with my bike, so I have to like go all the way around it to get to that part. But yeah, here's another look of the threaded inserts, and I think these are, well, demu anchors, but I would have to look up which exact type it is, because they have many different variants of those. So in the factory they would probably also have a temporary plastic thing to cover this up to prevent cement from getting into it. So now we have reached the other side of the crane, and what do we have here? A prefabricated roof thing. Oh no, it's actually not a dormer. Correction, I thought it'd be a dormer for the roof, but it's actually the window frames for the bay window that they are going to put up there. So yeah, they have just completely prefabricated 3 window frames and a little wooden roof, and they can just plonk it on top of there, just like so, as you can see. And that thing is, well, a pre-made assembly, and it's simply supported by those steel brackets. And here you can see the wall cavity in a little bit more detail. Also at the story floors they've kind of covered up the halls there. And well, I think it is mostly for acoustic reasons. Oddly enough, that wall panel has a different connection detail than the other house. But I think it has just something to do with like the width of the panels. I'm not sure why they've done that. It's a bit interesting why they do that. Can't really see a reason for that. But they've done that here as well. So it is like connected on the other side, and then at the story above you can see a little bit of cement in that anchor thing. But the wall anchors are really simple. It's just a bit of rebar protruding like a hook, and then they can hook some other thing against it, and then they just tighten that with a bolt, and then they just will cover it up with cement. So that house also has a garage, and the garage is also made of precast walls. Often the garages would just be simply made of masonry and they wouldn't even be insulated. But I think this one is going to be insulated and have a complete cavity wall. And also there at the top wall, as you can see there are some metal brackets mounted on the floor edge. And those are like wind anchors. Hey, there we have a rabbit. Hey, Mr. Rabbit. So here we are again in Borne, and last time we were looking at that bit, at the infrastructure. Not much progress there, but in the previous video I was wondering about why one of the foundation walls was thicker than the other ones. And I think we have the explanation here. They've now installed the hollow core floors for the ground floor, and on the foundation you can see some plastic tiles marked with some yellow paint marker, and those look like a sort of alignment tiles for precast concrete walls. So I'm thinking they are probably not going to install them on the floor edge, but they are going to be installed straight on the wall. That's why that end wall of the foundation is thicker, why it is 214 millimeters. Because the wall is going to be placed next besides to the floor instead of on top of the floor. And it looks like they are going to do the same for the facades. The facades normally don't have to be standing on the floor edge. They can actually be supported straight on the foundation, because it's just a very simple single span floor anyway. So that might actually explain why they are doing it like that. And also here they have this special plastic coated mineral wool between the two floor slabs for acoustic reasons. I saw a very similar thing in the Hengeloze S estate that I filmed recently. Even though this is a different builder, because in the Hengeloze S estate it was Koopmans TBI and this is Nijhuis. But yeah, they seem to be using the same sort of idea there. Rather interesting. So yeah, considering those black tiles, I'm expecting that this is going to be precast concrete. Probably from another manufacturer than those other blocks, because there's quite a few precast plants in the Netherlands, and they all have their own little different system and different connection details. And this kind of explains why that end wall was thicker. Also quite notable is that here on the floor slab edge it says block 1. So it means block number 1. So it's the first block of the project, and over there you can also see the temporary bracing already being laid there. So yeah, I'm expecting that this is going to be a precast house. And here we've got the interior walls made of very lightweight concrete. It's this stuff. That is aerated concrete. It's just a mixture of aluminium cement with some sand, and it's very porous and lightweight. And this here is block number 2, obviously, and then block 3 and block 4. But it seems like they have really squeezed that insulation very tightly between the two slabs. And also the floor slab edges there are sealed off with plastic tape. Although they've not done that for that house yet. But that just indicates that it is going to be extremely airtight. So these are going to be really energy efficient houses with airtight details. And that's possibly also why they've done it that way. They just want to seal off all nooks and crannies. So this was just a very short update. I guess we'll see next week or maybe 2 weeks later how this is developing further. As I expected, this house is going to be precast concrete, and well, I wasn't wrong. This is the block with the kind of unusual foundation detail. And as you can see there, the wall is not supported on the floor edge, but straight on the foundation masonry. And here you can also see some interesting structural details. There are some metal things there, and those are anchors specifically for the wind loads. This structural frame is made by the Heembeton company, and they are one of the biggest precast companies in the Netherlands, and they have some very specific structural details. In fact, the house that I live in, which was built in the mid to late 90s, is also a precast house from the same manufacturer. And well, you can see all these labels there, and there you see the acoustic material between the floor edges, and there's some openings there, and those are for crawling space ventilation. And crawling space ventilation has to be separated from the actual cavity ventilation, so the weep holes of the cavity may not be in contact with that. And here's the window frame, which is pre-installed, and as you can see, the headers and the jambs and the sills, they are connected straight to the wall with these brackets. And there's also like an extra bit of interfacing wood to make the connection, so that the window frame sits kind of in the center of the cavity wall. I know in some countries they kind of place the window frame a bit more towards the outside, so that you have kind of very small narrow wall reveals on the outer leaf of the masonry. But in the Netherlands the wall reveal is typically like 70 millimeters on the outside, and the inside reveal kind of varies a bit. So there you can also see the door frame installed with the brackets. As you can see, this house also has hollow core floors, and well, the top wall consists of an extra little panel. It has to do with the well, the dimensions of the mold. So here you can see the house being assembled. As you can see, there's the floor edge and there's the foundation wall. So the wall does not sit on the floor edge, but on the foundation. And there you can see that one wall panel still has to be installed, and at the lower corner you can also see a connection detail, which is a steel plate that is kind of embedded into the wall in a recessed area, and they're going to put an angle bracket in there which is going to be welded. And here we can see another detail. There up in the corner is a small piece of angle steel that is kind of welded. At the top of the wall there's also a welding plate embedded into it, and then the other wall also has a welding plate, and then they just connect it with a bit of angle steel and they just weld the connection. So here we can look at it from a slightly different angle over there. And of course there is the same detail as well. And here at the bottom you can see that the cavity between the walls is actually going to be quite narrow. The plastic foil kind of indicates that with the mineral wool, and there you've also got the placement tiles. So as you can see, the wall is actually supported on just a few tiles, but they're going to put cement underneath it. But during the installation, the wall is actually a beam. It is kind of subjected to bending stresses when the cement has not hardened yet. So there is actually not much reinforcement in those walls, only just a little bit of reinforcement in the bottom to make it able to deal with the bending stresses. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.